Panera at the grocery? What will you pair your Panera craving with? Quality time? Family time. Find chef-crafted Panera dressings now at your grocery.
What is up, everybody? It is Friday, November 3rd. This is the Casual Wrestling Daily Show, the daily pro wrestling news live show on YouTube where we discuss everything that is going on in the world of WWE and AEW. If you enjoy the content and you're feeling a little bit oozy, you are welcome to go over and click the link in the description of the video and donate a couple of dollars. If not, that's okay. Sit back and enjoy the next 15 to 30 minutes of pro wrestling talk. As always, if you don't know, now you know, I am the Notorious Nerdy D, aka the voice of the Casual Wrestling cult and host of the Casual Wrestling Community channel. Housekeeping, we are in week 1 of season 1 content for the Casual Wrestling Community channel. Everything going well. I will have an update on patreon.com/the Casual Wrestling Show this weekend to kind of talk about my thoughts and how we're moving forward. WWE in Review, the first episode posted this Wednesday with that was John Cena versus CM Punk 2011 Money in the Bank, where we go back and review it and add it to the most casual notorious list of pro wrestling matches of all time. And recording after this show will be the Casual Wrestling Podcast, and that will post around 5 p.m. Central today. So you'll have that for your weekend listening enjoyment. Remember, we are on patreon.com. It is free to follow. Go ahead, go sign up. There's not a lot of activity over there, but I'm not trying to do it as a way to earn money. I want to be able to, if I'm not going to be able to record something, or if I have a message I want to get out to people, I need a place to be able to kind of let everybody know what's going on. So just go over there. All you have to do is it's super quick. You follow on Patreon. It's like following on Facebook or Instagram or anything like that. It's 100% free, and all the updates will be there. So here are the 5 stories you need to know about today in pro wrestling, starting with topic number 1 being that this morning there was a Crown Jewel press conference. that was announced, I believe, yesterday. It kind of snuck up on everybody. They didn't make a big to-do about this, but there was a press conference held in the kind of same vein that they've done the last two, except this one looked a little more legit. This is what I've been wanting to see with the press conference. I've been calling for these press conferences for the last year. I've been saying that for the big events, it would work for them to take an hour to sit down and just kind of have a couple builds up. And that's what they did. They featured 3 matches. They featured, 4 basically. They featured Damage Control, Bayley and Bianca Belair, Omos, Braun Strowman, and then Roman and Logan. As far as like just takeaways, if you're not going to go back and watch the event, I get it. Nothing really moved forward other than it was kind of just a hoopla and a hooray for Saudi Arabia and holding an event there again. But just takeaways that I had from the event were, number one, overseas crowds love Bayley. There's just something. Bayley, she resonates with a lot of crowds, but I think that like United States and Canadian crowds understand a little bit more that she's a bad guy and it helps her if we boo. But like overseas crowds, they just seem to really like Bayley and they get behind her. And I think that there's going to be a little bit of an awkwardness in that Bianca Belair and Bayley match, because I do think, once again, Bayley is going to receive some cheers. As much as she wants to be a heel, it feels like the crowd may get behind her. Second takeaway from the press conference would be that Omos and Braun Strowman did a very good job at selling me on a match that they've done a terrible job selling me on up until this point. I thought it was interesting. Omos came out with no MVP, and they allowed him to do just enough talking that he showed he has a personality. Like, he's not bad with a microphone. I don't know why he has a mouthpiece. I think that when he talks and he shows a little bit of aggression, it humanized his character and made me feel like, okay, there is some aggression there. There is some want to win. Braun Strowman did amazing. Braun Strowman has all the charisma in the world. He doesn't need any help in that department. But they did a weigh-in where both guys weighed in. Omos weighed 416 pounds. Braun Strowman, 330 pounds. Talk about a guy that's in great physical shape. He is huge. I mean, he is a big, big man. And they sold the face off well, right? They got in each other's faces. There was a shove. Triple H got in the middle of them. It gave, like, it did just enough to go, all right, I'm excited enough now that I'm not mad that match is on the card anymore. Like, I can get behind that match. And this little bit of buildup, I wish this is how they would have sold it the entire time, instead of having MVP and all these other like gimmicky ways of trying to sell this match. If you just let these two guys stand toe to toe and make it look like a real fight, I think these guys, they did enough. It's not going to be the best match in the world. It wasn't sold as the best match in the world, but I'm sold enough to go, all right, I'm intrigued. Let's see what happens at Crown Jewel. And my third takeaway from this press conference was that Jake Paul appeared at the Crown Jewel press conference, and the crowd was behind Logan. There's no doubt. Like, they were behind Roman as well, but the Saudi crowd is not as against Logan Paul as the American crowd is. And that's interesting because here we go. This is all feeding into my belief that look, I get it. I understand that the odds, like, the reality is it may be a 5% chance that Logan could win this match, but I'm saying every day that percentage has gone from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. Right now, after seeing this press conference, I am at my high of highs and believing that there is a realistic chance that Logan Paul wins this match. There's a realistic chance. You guys have to stop it. And it's not you guys. The IWC has to stop it. The IWC has to stop it when they talk about Logan Paul in the same breath as David Arquette. Stop doing that. Stop making those comparisons. This isn't the same thing. We are not in the same situation. One guy was an actor who came in and kind of made a mockery of the sport, and the other guy is a YouTuber, yes, but he's also a professional athlete. Like, he's boxed. He's done some things. His brother is a professional athlete. Like, these guys are real athletes. And Logan, when he stands up there next to Roman Reigns, looks and acts like he belongs here. It's not a joke. It doesn't feel gimmicky. I don't feel, when I watched this press conference, I didn't feel like I was looking at a YouTuber and a professional wrestler. I felt like I was looking at two professional wrestlers who have had completely different courses to get to where they are. Yes, Logan's had 2 matches, but every time he gets in front of a microphone, he fucking electrifies, right? And now you put Jake Paul in his corner, and you have all eyes in sports media, combat sports media, all eyes are on this product. And if you end that show with Logan Paul holding up those titles, the world will be set on fire. I don't give a fuck about this 20% of the IWC who goes, I won't watch it if Logan Paul wins. You know what, to be honest with you, I don't think they care. I really don't think they care, because you're the same sheeple who think that Jake Paul is bad for boxing, and the same people who can't understand that just the possibility of Logan Paul winning this match is best case scenario for WWE in terms of large scale marketing. I get it, right? Roman's had the belt for 2 years, and Logan shouldn't be the guy to take it off of him. That's why you do it. That's why you do it, right? That's why you do things. Professional wrestling is all about the surprise. That's why you do it. It's because he's not supposed to be. What do you want? What do you guys want, IWC? Do you want them to just go, okay, let's find the guy that everybody knows should beat Roman, and we'll have him beat him, and then you'll go, WWE is so obvious. WWE is so predictable, right? Now we get this opportunity where we do get somebody who has a spotlight on them, who is unpredictable. And if Logan decides, let's say Logan just says, fuck it, I'm going to take this serious, and I'm going to show up week in and week out as long as I'm WWE champion. This could be, look, 5% chance, but on that 5% chance, it could be a lot of fun. There are a lot of stories to be told if Logan decided to show up week in and week out and tease holding that belt. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I get it's probably not going to happen, but what if it does, right? What if it does? The second thing you guys need to know about today in professional wrestling is there was a potential spoiler on Triple H adding a surprise championship match to Crown Jewel. It has been reported that Triple H and WWE Creative may be adding a Seth Rollins United States Championship match to Crown Jewel this Saturday. According to a recent report from Zero News, Seth Rollins will put forth an open challenge to any member of the WWE locker room who thinks they can take the U.S. title off of him. This is interesting, right? Because this card is getting filled up quickly, right? There's a lot of stuff going on. This is a card that is loading up, and there now looks like there's going to have to be some fluff to it. Right here, I don't think we get Mustafa Ali. I'm going to come out and say that right off. I don't think we're getting Seth Rollins, Mustafa Ali, because I think that match needs time, and I don't think this card has the time to give that match a proper ado. I think more likely Seth Rollins gets some weird opponent that comes out. Maybe Mustafa gets involved, or it's kind of a clusterfuck that doesn't ever really emerge into a real match. Some of these appearances are just because we need appearances, right? We're in Saudi Arabia. This is Crown Jewel. They want to see all the wrestlers. So we got to bring this guy out. He's got to do something. So the possibility for Seth to come out and squash somebody. But I don't think we're getting Mustafa Ali right here. Even though I think Mustafa is probably, and more so because Mustafa Ali is a crowd favorite, I don't know he can afford another gimmick switch at this point. Like, I don't know if Seth is kind of turned babyface. I don't know that Mustafa Ali can come out and play the bad guy in Saudi Arabia. So I don't think that's the position they want to put Mustafa Ali in at this point, right? When we look at this card, there's now 8 possible matches and also some sort of Bray Wyatt appearance. This card is filled to the brim, and it's going to be pushed for time because certain matches do need time to breathe. This leads me to believe that there's going to be those kind of shenanigan type matches where things don't go to plan or somebody gets hurt before a match. One of these matches may get bumped off the card completely. I don't know if they're planning to do a pre-show. You just never know with WWE. A lot of things happen last minute. They promote all this stuff, and then it all can change in the blink of an eye. I'm looking for like Omos and Braun Strowman to be a weirdly short match. something happens, one guy gets a big shot, it like the ring implodes. I could see the ring imploding in that match. Like, I really could. I really think there's a possibility that Omos and Braun Strowman implode the ring. It feels like something that like the Saudi Arabia crowd would fucking go nuts for, is if you had these two monsters. And WWE does this when you get these two gargantuan men in a ring and some kind of suplex or something happens and the ring implodes. But imagine the dynamics that creates for the rest of the show. Let's say, here's the possibility, right? Let's put Omos and Braun as the kind of time-filling match before the main event, right? And so we have them come out. They got 6-7 minutes. They fight, suplex, ring implodes, and this has been done before, but wrestling is definitely a cyclical event, right? But what if the main event, what if Roman Reigns and Logan Paul has to take place in like an imploded ring? It takes place in this awkward situation that creates a problem for Roman. It creates unfamiliar like territory for Roman. To me, that's interesting, right? Now Jake's involved. Now you've got an imploded ring. I think there are ways to sell this event and sell this main event in an unconventional way that, number one, Logan could win, or number two, it at least feels like Logan has an opportunity to win, right? And you got to assume in this event that Bray Wyatt is going to command at least a good amount, a 10-minute slot, right? Because his entrance alone commands what? 4 to 5 minutes, the theatrics of his entrance. And then he needs 4 to 5 minutes to speak, because I do believe that we're forwarding this story with Bray Wyatt one premium live event at a time. We're going to continue to get these chunks of information about who he is and what he's trying to do. So, that's there. Like, there is a lot to squeeze in to Crown Jewel at this point, and I do think there's going to be some shenanigans, and having a open U.S. title challenge just seems like we're just squashing this all in. We do have SmackDown tonight. We have Monday Night Raw following. It just feels like trying to get a lot into a short amount of time. The third thing you guys need to know about in professional wrestling today is that Dana Brooke says she is the hardest working woman in professional wrestling in response to Seth Rollins throwing shade at her. So the visionary Seth Rollins got a fiery response from current WWE 24/7 champion Dana Brooke. Rollins declared that Dana Brooke would be the most viable option for Theory to win a championship with his golden opportunity. I've taken it many times. Sam Roberts, Corey Graves, and now Seth Rollins. They don't see what I do behind the scenes. It's always about an opportunity, and I'm waiting on that opportunity to come out there and show them what I can do. Behind the scenes, I'm working 24/7, no pun intended. I'm in the ring, working out in the gym. I do boxing classes. I work on promo skills, acting classes. People always see what is showcased in the ring on TV, but they never see how someone is working behind the scenes, and I promise you, I'm the hardest working woman. Dana Brooke then went on to reflect on her entire career journey, claiming to be one of the hardest workers in the locker room, and how hate is her biggest motivation to thrive against all odds. Let me start with this. In regards to this story. Dana, chill the fuck out. And I mean that with all due fucking respect. Chill the fuck out. I don't think Seth Rollins was taking a personal shot at you. This feels like one of those things where like somebody looks for hidden meaning inside of what was being said. I don't think Seth was taking a shot at Dana Brooke. Was he taking a shot at the 24/7 title? 100%, but that's what it's there for, right? It's well known. We all know the 24/7 title is not a legitimate title. It is a joke title. It is there for fun. I heard the other day, like, R-Truth has had a 52-time 24/7 champion. Like, that's what the belt is there for. Let's not pretend like anyone on this planet, IWC, casual wrestling fans, two things they don't believe. Number one, they don't believe that Theory would ever even consider cashing in on the 24/7 title. And number two, nobody believes that Dana Brooke would have a chance at stopping him. So this wasn't meant to be a shot. I do always love this narrative. Athletes do this all the time. And it's usually not the top level athlete. It's usually someone who is feeling underappreciated, which I'm sure Dana Brooke is feeling underappreciated. It's obvious by what she's saying here. But I love this narrative that people paint out when they say, I'm the hardest working person in this industry. It'd be like me coming out and going, I'm the hardest working podcaster in the pro wrestling industry. Nobody puts on a show every day. Nobody's doing this stuff but that doesn't matter, right? No matter how hard you work, there is a certain amount of natural ability. There's a certain amount of luck. So when you run around screaming about, I am the hardest working person in the industry, first off, you don't know that. You don't know what other people are doing. And secondly, it doesn't matter. Like, you do you, and that's all you have to do. I actually do believe Dana Brooke is not a bad wrestler by any stretch. I think she's a good wrestler. I think she's a fun wrestler to watch. I think she has good mic skills. I 100% agree with her that opportunity is everything, and she hasn't had her opportunity to rise to the forefront. But, like, watch where you're pointing your anger. Watch who you're calling out. Don't be so sensitive when somebody uses you, uses an opportunity to speak and to talk, but don't come out firing and angry. You come off bitter when that happens. You can be too sensitive. Come out and call your shot against the top women in the industry is what you should do. Come out and call your shot against Becky Lynch or Bianca Belair. Call your shot against Charlotte or Ronda Rousey. Do it. Take this platform. When Seth gives you the opportunity, you should take that opportunity to call out somebody who legitimately needs to be called out. Don't go after Seth Rollins. That's the wrong, don't point your sword. I'm not pointing my sword at Seth Rollins. That's not the guy I want to go at. And I can appreciate her fire and her belief in herself, but you just have to aim that anger in the right direction. Right now, if I was Dana Brooke, I would worry more about approaching Triple H and saying, can we get the 24/7 title defended at all? Can we just get it on TV so that I can get back to being a part of some storylines here, rather than screaming and complaining about, oh, you shouldn't have said that, Seth. I'm the hardest working. Cool. That's all great. I don't think I'm placing myself in Seth Rollins' shoes, but I don't think that was a shot at Dana Brooke. I think it was a shot at the 24/7 title. I think it was a joke. I think it was Seth playing a character. And if she's truly getting sensitive over this, I don't know how, I don't know what to tell her. There's going to be a lot more of that going on in your career. Next thing you guys need to know about is that, let's see what this is here. AEW Dynamite surprises bring in one of its lowest demo ratings of the year. This is according to Cage Side Seats. The ratings and viewership data are in for last night's episode of AEW Dynamite. Per Showbiz Daily, Dynamite netted 911,000 viewers. 911,000 viewers for a 0.29 rating point in the 18 to 49-year-old demographic. I hate all these different metrics and points and numbers and shit. Dynamite finished third place in the demo rating on cable for the night, trailing only NBA-related content. These numbers are down from the last week's 997,000 viewers and 0.32 demo rating, though AEW ranked ahead of last week's fifth place finish. That's a question. I don't need to ask that. I'm gonna be fair when I talk about this, because I had this same exact story about WWE earlier in the week, and it wouldn't be fair to come out and go, see, you guys are failing. I think it's the same thing. Once again, just like WWE with Monday Night Raw and Monday Night Football, I don't think this is anything you overreact to. Like, we get into this point of the season in the fall where sports are huge. Football, baseball, basketball. Baseball's closing out. We're in the World Series. Basketball's just getting started, and football's right in the middle of its schedule. And so when you have these three big major sports going, it's going to affect professional wrestling. Wrestling is never going to beat the big three. It's just never going to do it. And that's okay. Like, we're all fine with that. Because most of us are fans of at least wrestling and one of these other sports, right? Me, I'd go, it's wrestling, football, basketball. Even though I played basketball, I prefer to watch football. A lot of people go wrestling, baseball, right? So everybody kind of has, even hockey, right? But everybody has these sports that you go to and you watch. And those, to me, are more important sports to watch live than pro wrestling. It's okay to DVR pro wrestling and watch it later. So I wouldn't be concerned. Where I would be a little bit concerned is how Tony Khan reacts to these kind of messages and these kind of stories, right? The way Tony Khan tries to counter these effects can tend to be a little scary, right? I think WWE and Triple H have come to terms with the idea that the NFL is going to eat up their viewership. And they'll do what they can, but they are not going to overreact to that idea to try to take back ratings, right? With AEW and Tony Khan, on the other hand, I think that this will become a little bit personal for him. I do think that he'll try to combat the ratings. And we saw it with these like surprises, right? These quote unquote surprises that Tony Khan tries to muster up with each week. These surprises feel a little less surprising, right? They're a little less oozy surprises. They're more desperation. Because if Jeff Jarrett and Colt Cabana are your weapons to combat the NBA, it might be time to rethink your plan. It might be time just to stick to your core content. Maybe just start with featuring your most viable commodities way more. Why is MJF not leaving his stamp all over AEW Dynamite every week? Like, he should be woven in and out of that show the entire episode, right? Instead of just these little where he comes out and talks for 2 minutes. Say what you want. And I do it all the time. Say what you want about AEW, but there is truth here, and I'm going to speak some truth. AEW has 3 names that are commercially viable names. Maybe 4, but there's 3 names in reality that are commercially viable names in the wrestling industry that reach mass markets of fans. I'm talking they reach IWC and they transcend into the casual market. Outside of those 3, most people don't know most of the AEW roster. That's just reality. If you just walk up to a random wrestling fan on the street that has a WWE shirt on, they're not going to know who these people are. The 3 wrestlers that I believe are commercially viable in AEW: Chris Jericho. I believe Chris Jericho, every time he gets on a microphone, he's good. The name the name holds weight in professional wrestling. People know who Chris Jericho is. Number 2, Jon Moxley. Good champion, good guy, hard worker, comes out, doesn't do much wrong, and he's well known through the whole industry, right? 3rd, it's MJF, possibly the most interesting person not named Roman Reigns in professional wrestling, and AEW has somehow found a way to underutilize this guy. They do not use MJF enough. MJF should already be champion. MJF should already be cutting promos. MJF should be the main event every night. Make MJF feel like a big deal, and the entire wrestling world will pay attention. But they're not doing that. They're not doing that, right? And the 4th guy, the 4th name that I had on this list was Bryan Danielson, even though I think that AEW and Tony Khan let him cool off. I don't think he holds the same weight in professional wrestling that he did when he crossed over. You should have put the fucking strap on him the minute he crossed over from WWE to AEW. They should have tied a rocket to his ass, launched him to the fucking moon, and put that title on his ass, and he would have been huge. Now he's cooled off. He's back to being kind of an indie darling, an AEW, an IWC guy, which is fine. I think that's what he wanted. I think that's ultimately where Bryan Danielson wanted to be, but I think his commercial viability has fallen. But AEW still has just too much fan service for me, right? It's too much fan service to be viable in the commercial market. When your main event is Moxley versus some guy I don't know about, right? Because the way the AEW shows work, they're not even in the right order. And I know it has to do with time slots and things like this, but like Samoa Joe was the main event versus Wardlow or Brian Cage. I'm not sure who it was. I think it was Brian Cage. That's your main event? That's your main event. That's fan service. Nobody's turning on their TV as a casual wrestling fan to see Samoa Joe in the main event. I like Samoa Joe. I think Samoa Joe is fucking awesome, but Samoa Joe's not built up enough in the wrestling world to be the main event. You could build him up to be the main event, but at this point, if a guy is not featured every week as the main event, as the main guy, we don't take him serious. There's a reason we all take Roman Reigns serious, and the IWC goes, he doesn't do enough, he doesn't talk enough. It's because WWE treats him like the man. WWE, they build up his, if he's going to appear, it's a big deal. He's either first or last on television. That's why we take Roman serious. AEW is just, it's still a clusterfuck and a mess of like, I don't know what's going on. That's what scares me about the ratings of AEW, is that I do still see things that are not commercially viable, right? And if Tony Khan would just come out and say, we don't really care about ratings. All we care about is just putting on a solid wrestling product that makes wrestling fans happy, then this is great. Then you're doing a hell of a job. But as long as he continues to pretend like he wants to compete with WWE, like he wants television contracts, like he wants ratings, all of these things don't make sense. Like, nothing against Tony Storm. Nothing at all against Tony Storm, but that's fan service once again, right? That's Tony Khan trying to make up for like the downfalls of WWE. WWE didn't treat Tony Storm the way the IWC wanted, so here, let's strap the title to her and the IWC will praise me for doing this. No, right now, you have three people who should be champion: Jade Cargill, Britt Baker, or Saraya. Right? And we're probably headed towards Saraya at some point getting involved in that. But that's it. Those are your three people right now that should be holding the major women's championships. If you're trying to get commercially viable, it's time to put those titles on the people who matter, on the people who will sell tickets, on the people who will bring in the mass wrestling audience. And that's something that Tony Khan just almost refuses to do at this point. And that's what scares me about those ratings. Last thing I think you guys need to know about is Colt Cabana's AEW Dynamite appearance is apparently a one-off deal. Chris Jericho issued an open challenge for the Ring of Honor World Championship during a previous episode of AEW Dynamite. The open challenge took place on this week's Dynamite. Colt Cabana's music hit, and the former Ring of Honor Tag Team Champion came out and answered Jericho's challenge. According to a report by Mike Johnson of PW Insider, it was revealed that Colt Cabana's appearance was planned as just a one-off event. Colt Cabana's appearance on AEW did not go unnoticed by WWE as well. You guys all remember when I said that Colt Cabana was no longer with AEW, and everybody fucking shit on me and said you were wrong. I was wrong. You're wrong, right? And then we get this, and it was a one-off appearance, which means that he's not listed internally as somebody on the roster. You guys got to quit pretending like this Ring of Honor company exists outside of AEW. It is obvious that Ring of Honor is just a part of AEW and is just a featured part of the show. So now we get word that this is a one-off appearance, right? And whatever love, here, this is going to be a tough pill for the IWC to swallow, but this is truth. Whatever love that Colt Cabana got this week is sympathetic and a product of circumstance. Colt Cabana is not over with the crowd, guys. Colt Cabana didn't all of a sudden become this massive wrestling, just phenom. This was circumstance, right? This is all the IWC that turned on CM Punk and that hate CM Punk. They turned all that hate and they turned it into love for Colt Cabana. And I don't believe for 1 minute that WWE is paying attention to this. Like whoever's getting that information, now they may be paying attention just from the extent of like, what is CM Punk going to do based on this? But I don't think, I just can't see that at 42 years old, he's not super athletic. I don't see Colt Cabana being this guy that like this hot free agent in the pro wrestling market. I refuse to believe it. Nothing about Colt Cabana screams, I need to sign this guy and he's going to be a huge star. Nothing wrong with Colt Cabana by any means. He's a solid wrestler and he's an entertainer. He's a good wrestler, but he's like, when you're looking for free agents, you're looking for guys who can move the needle. Long-term Colt Cabana is not doing that. I watched the match, the Jericho match with Colt Cabana. It wasn't overly impressive. It wasn't bad, but it was a match. Neither of them, they moved like 40-year-old men. That's what you expect from two 40-year-old men in the ring. And the thing is, it's cool right now to like Colt Cabana. It's the hipster thing. The IWC gets in these hipster waves. And this is the cool thing right now, is to like Colt Cabana. It's to shit on CM Punk and to like Colt Cabana. That is the hipster IWC. If you want to be part of the IWC, you grab that playbook and you follow that play. But WWE doesn't need a 42-year-old mediocre wrestling added to the roster I'm calling bullshit on this report. Like, I am calling bullshit that WWE is paying attention. And anyway, Tony Khan, he will re-sign Colt Cabana just based on the fact that, Cabana came out to an emotional return, that the crowd, the IWC reacted. The IWC will get inside of Tony Khan's head, and they'll make him believe you've got something here. You've got a guy. Until you don't, right? Until he doesn't have a guy, until all of this kind of blows over and he cools off. And then what will Tony Khan do? The same thing he did with Colt Cabana the first time. He'll put that toy back in the toy box. It just so happens that one of Tony Khan's toys that was in the toy box, somehow it got shiny again. He pulled it out. He put it out in his play set. Once it dulls up again, he'll just put it right back in the toy box. That's what Tony Khan does. Let's go. I have an update on R-Truth here that I pulled right before we went on air. R-Truth officially has a torn quad, or it's believed he has a torn quad. It's not official. It is believed that R-Truth has a torn quad, which is a injury that will require a long recovery. I knew it. I played sports my whole life, guys. I know what injuries look like. I played at a high level. That like when a guy winces the way he winced and has to be helped out, and a guy especially like R-Truth who's that tough, I knew there was immediately I knew it was either a knee or a quad injury. There was something wrong, and that injury requires a lot of recovery and a lot of rehab. And at 50 years old, R-Truth seems like the guy that'll do it. R-Truth seems like the type of guy who will go through that pain and that agony to get back to where he needs to be. But there is a chance that was the last time we saw R-Truth in a WWE ring in a wrestling capacity. At 50, if it takes him 2 years or a year to recover from this, let's say 51, I don't know that there's a lot of life left. And so that sucks, but hopefully, hopefully thoughts and prayers out to R-Truth. Hopefully he's able to rehab that. Hopefully he gets back and we do see him in the ring, but that's a scary thing. I knew it when I saw it. And I saw it. He hit that rope and he came down and immediately grabbed that leg. I knew there was a problem. Let's talk about SmackDown and what you can expect tonight. Apparently, there is a Liv Morgan versus Sonya Deville no DQ match. That should be interesting. That should be fun. I've said it, and I'll talk about it later on the podcast, but they're doing a lot with Liv all of a sudden that they should have done with her originally when she was on when she was on her title run. All of a sudden, we're making her interesting. We got Ricochet versus LA Knight. I'm excited to see more of LA Knight in the ring. And then we got Gunther versus Rey Mysterio, which honestly, from my point of view, I want to just get over with because I don't like the Gunther small guy dynamic. I fell in love when Gunther fought Sheamus. I fell in love with the idea of Gunther fighting other big, strong gladiator-like men. I love watching that. That's what I'm all about. So good, should be a good SmackDown. You guys make sure we're going to be recording the Casual Wrestling Community podcast here in about an hour, and that will go up at 5:00. So make sure to check that out. We're going to be doing predictions on Crown Jewel, talking about the best news stories of the week from this show, and we'll be talking about a couple rumors. So make sure to tune into that. Make sure to go to the Patreon. I'm serious when I say go to the Patreon. And sign up and join. It's free. I'm not trying to get money out of anybody. There are options to donate, but that's not what I'm trying to do. I just need a place. Like this Saturday or Sunday, I'm going to be posting a blog about what I thought of the first week of content. And that's where I'm going to kind of gather the feedback. That's where I'll take your feedback on what you want to see, what you liked, what you didn't like. So go over to patreon.com/The Casual Wrestling Show and sign up and become a patron. It's 100% free. And so that we can kind of build the community up right there. But that's all the time we have today for the Casual Wrestling Daily Show. We will pick up where we left off on Monday. Make sure to tune in every weekday, Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Central here on YouTube Live. Make sure to check out the Casual Wrestling Podcast. That will post today at 5 p.m. Central. And make sure to check out WWE in Review. That is up. We will have another one up next Wednesday. As always, I am the Notorious Nerdy D, and I will see you guys on Monday.
Step in the ring, if you ready, let's go. Hey, casual wrestling community show. You already know, talking WWE. Keep it rolling and hosted by Notorious Nerdy D. Don't be show that you gon' find. Tune in cause it's online. Hit 'em with a figure 4 leg lock, power driver or clothesline. We bringing that heat like